Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Book 24, Story 11, Treasurer Childless. The story goes that when King Pasenadi Kosala heard of Treasurer Childless Aputaka's death, he inquired, "To whom falls the property of a man that dies leaving no children?" The king was the reply. So during the next 7 days, the king caused the dead man's property to be removed to the royal palace. When the property had all been removed, the king went to wait upon the teacher. Said the teacher to the king, "O great king, whence, pray, do you come at this noonday hour?" The king replied, "Reverend sir, here in Savatthi, a householder who was a treasurer died the other day, and as he had no son, I have been superintending the removal of his property to the royal precincts, and am just returning." Said the king, "The story goes that whenever food flavored with all manner of choice flavors was brought to him in a golden dish, he would say, 'So men eat such food as this, do they? Why do you make sport of me in my own house?' If the servants ventured to serve the food, he would attack them with clods of earth and stick and stones and drive them away. Then he would say, 'This is the proper kind of food for men to eat,' and eat porridge made of rice dust, followed by sour gruel. Whenever attractive clothes and carriages and parasols were offered him, he would attack his servants with clods of earth and sticks and stones and drive them away. He would wear clothes made of hempen cloth and drive about in an old broken down chariot with a parasol made of leaves held over his head." Then the teacher related his deed in a previous state of existence. Story of the past, the niggardly treasurer. Great king, in times long past, this treasurer, this householder, provided a Pacheka Buddha named Tagarasiki with arms. "Give alms to the monks," said he, and rising from his seat went his way. The story goes that as this unbelieving simpleton spoke these words and went his way, his faithful believing wife thought to herself, "Verily, it is a long time since I have heard the word 'give' fall from the lips of my husband. Today I will fulfill the wish of my heart and give alms." So taking the bowl of the Pacheka Buddha and filling it with the choicest food, she presented it to him. As the treasurer returned, he met the Pacheka Buddha. "Monk, did you get anything?" said he. Taking the bowl, he looked at it and saw the choice food. Straightway he was filled with regret, for thought he to himself, "It would be better if my slaves and servants had this food to eat. For if they had this food to eat, they would work hard for me. But this monk will take this food and eat it, and then lie down and go to sleep. My food has been given away for naught." Moreover, this treasurer, deprived of life, the only son of his brother, for the sake of the property which his nephew inherited. The story goes, as the nephew walked about holding the finger of his uncle, the treasurer, he would say such things as these: "This carriage is the property of my father, and this ox is his." The treasurer thought to himself, "Thus and so he talks, just at the present time. But when he grows to manhood, is anyone likely to see his possessions in this house?" So one day he took his nephew to the forest, seized him by the neck under a certain bush, killed him as one would split open the bulb of a radish, and wringing his neck, cast the dead body into the thicket. This was the evil deed he committed in a previous state of existence. End of the story of the past. Therefore it is said, "Inasmuch great king as this treasurer, this householder, caused the Pacheka Buddha, Dagarasiki, to be provided with food, through the ripening of this good deed, he attained in 7 successive existences a happy future estate, and was reborn in the heavenly world. And because the fruit of this same good deed was not yet exhausted, in 7 existences he exercised the prerogatives of a treasurer of this same city of Savati. On the other hand, great king, inasmuch as this treasurer, this householder, afterwards regretted the good deed which he had done, and said, "It would have been better could my slaves and servants have had this food to eat." Through the ripening of this evil deed, his heart was not inclined to the enjoyment of fine food. His heart was not inclined to the enjoyment of fine clothes. His heart was not inclined to the enjoyment of fine carriages. His heart was not inclined to the enjoyment of the 5 pleasures of sense. Moreover, great king, inasmuch as this treasurer, this householder, deprived of life the only son of his brother, for the sake of his inheritance, through the ripening of this evil deed, he suffered torment in hell for many hundreds of years, for many thousands of years, for many hundreds of thousands of years. And because a part of the fruit of this same evil deed still remained, in 7 successive existences he died without a son, And the king's men carried to the king's storehouse the wealth he left behind him. And this was the seventh. Moreover, great king, inasmuch as the old merit of this treasurer, this householder, has been exhausted, and he has accumulated no new merit. Today, great king, this treasurer, this householder suffers torment in the Maha Roruva hell. When the king heard these words of the teacher, he said, Reverend sir, how grievous was the fault of this treasurer in that, while all of these good things yet remained to him, he neither used them himself, nor wrought works of merit by presenting them in alms to a Buddha like you, residing in a monastery near at hand. The teacher replied, Yes, yes, great king. Even so, when foolish men get riches, they seek not Nibbana, but the cravings which arise within them because of their riches plague them for a long time. So saying, he pronounced the following stanza. Riches destroy the foolish. They seek not the farther shore. By his craving for riches, the foolish man slays himself as if he was slaying others. Book 26, Story 32. Sundarasamudda Thera. At Savatthi, we are told, in a great household possessing 40 crores of treasure, was reborn a certain youth of station, named Ocean of Beauty, Sundarasamudda Kumara. One day, after breakfast, seeing a great company of people with perfumes and garlands in their hands, going to Jetavana to hear the Dhamma, he asked, Where are you going? To the teacher to hear the Dhamma. They replied, I will go too, said he, and accompanying them, sat down in the outer circle of the congregation. The teacher, knowing the thoughts of his heart, preached the Dhamma in orderly sequence. Thought Ocean of Beauty, it is impossible while living the life of a householder to lead the holy life as perfect and pure as a polished shell. The teacher's discourse made him eager to retire from the world. Therefore, as the congregation departed, he asked the teacher to admit him to the order. Said the teacher, the Tathagatas admit no one to the order who has not first obtained the permission of his mother and father. So Ocean of Beauty went home, and like the youth, Rattapala and others, by dint of great effort, prevailed upon his mother and father to give him permission to enter the order. Having obtained their permission, he retired from the world and was admitted to the order by the teacher. Subsequently, he made his full profession as a member of the order, Then he thought to himself, "What is the use of my living here?" So departing from Jetavana, he went to Rajagha and spent his time going his rounds for alms. Now, one day there was a festival at Savatthi, and on that day, Ocean of Beauty's mother and father saw their sons' playfellows diverting themselves amid great splendor and magnificence. Thereupon they began to weep and lament, saying, "This is past our sons' getting now." At that moment, a certain courtesan came to the house, and seeing his mother as she sat weeping, asked her, "Mother, why do you weep?" "I keep thinking of my son. That is why I weep." "But mother, where is he?" "Among the monks, retired from the world." "Would it not be proper to make him return to the world?" "Yes, indeed. But he doesn't wish to do that. He has left Savatthi and gone to Rajagha. Suppose I were to succeed in making him return to the world, what would you do for me?" "We would make you the mistress of all the wealth of this household." "Very well, give me my expenses." And taking the amount of her expenses, she surrounded herself with a large retinue and went to Rajagha. Taking note of the street in which the elder was accustomed to make his round for alms, she obtained a house in this street and took up her abode therein. And early in the morning she prepared choice food, and when the elder entered the street to make his round for alms, she gave him alms. After a few days had passed, she said to him, "Reverend sir, sit down right here and eat your meal." So saying, she offered to take his bowl, and the elder yielded his bowl willingly. Then she served him with choice food, and having so done said to him, "Reverend sir, right here is the most delightful spot to which you could come on your round for alms." For a few days she enticed him to sit on the veranda, and there provided him with choice food. Next, she won the favor of some small boys by treating them with cakes, and said to them, "See here, boys, when the elder comes to the house, you come too. And when you come, kick up the dust. And even if I tell you to stop, pay no attention to what I say." So on the following day, while the elder was eating his meal, the boys came to the house and kicked up the dust. And when the mistress of the house told them to stop, they paid no attention to what she said. On the next day she said to the elder, "Reverend sir, these boys keep coming here and kicking up the dust. And even when I tell them to stop, pay no attention to what I say. Sit inside of the house." For a few days she seated him inside of the house, and there provided him with choice food. Then she treated the boys again and said to them, "Boys, while the elder is eating his meal, make a loud noise. And even if I tell you to stop, pay no attention to what I say. The boys did as they were told. On the following day, she said to the elder, Reverend sir, the noise in this place is unbearable. In spite of all I do to stop them, these boys pay no attention to what I say. Sit on the upper floor of the mansion. The elder gave his consent. She then climbed to the top of the mansion, making the elder precede her and closing the doors after her. Now the elder had taken upon himself the strict obligation to receive alms only by making an unbroken round from door to door. But in spite of this fact, so firmly bound was he by the bonds of the craving of taste, that he complied with her suggestion and climbed to the topmost floor of the 7-storied mansion. The woman provided the elder with a seat. In 40 ways, friend Punnamukha, does the woman accost a man. She yawns, she bows down, she makes amorous gestures, she pretends to be abashed, she rubs the nails of one hand or foot with the nails of the other hand or foot. She places one foot on the other foot. She scratches on the ground with a stick. She causes a boy to leap up. She causes her boy to leap down. She dallies with her boy and makes him dally with her. She kisses him and makes him kiss her. She eats food and makes him eat food. She gives and begs for gifts. She imitates whatever he does. She talks in a loud tone. She talks in a low tone. She talks as in public. She talks as in private, while dancing, singing, playing musical instruments, weeping, making amorous gestures, adorning herself. She laughs and looks. She sways her hips. She jiggles her waist gear, uncovers her thigh, displays her breast, displays her armpit. She displays her navel. She buries the pupils of her eyes, lifts her eyebrows, scratches her lips, and dangles her tongue. She takes off her loincloth, puts on her loincloth, takes off her turban, and puts on her turban. Thus did that woman employ all the devices of a woman, all the graces of a woman. And standing before the elder, she recited the following stanza. Dyed in hack and clad in slippers are the feet of a harlot. You are young and you are mine. I am young and I am yours. We will both retire from the world later on and lean on a staff. Thought the elder, alas, I have committed a grievous sin. I did not consider what I was doing, and he was deeply moved. At that moment the teacher, although seated within the Jetavana, 45 leagues distant, saw the whole affair and smiled. Elder Ananda asked him, Reverend sir, what is the cause? What is the occasion of your smiling? Ananda, in the city of Rajagar, on the topmost floor of a 7-storied palace, there is a battle on between the monk ocean of beauty and the harlot. Who is going to win, Reverend sir, and who is going to lose? The teacher replied, Ananda, ocean of beauty is going to win, and the harlot is going to lose. Having thus proclaimed that the elder would win the victory, the teacher remained seated where he was, sent forth the luminous image of himself, and said, Monk, renounce both lusts and free yourself from desire. So saying, he pronounced the following stanza. Whoever in this world renounces lust, whoever abandons the home life and retires from the world, whoever has extinguished the essence of lust, such a man I call a Brahmana. At the end of the lesson, the elder attained arahatship, rose into the air by psychic power, passing through the circular peak of the house and returning once more to Savati, praised the body of the teacher and saluted the teacher. The monks discussed the incident in the hall of truth, saying, Brethren, all because of tastes perceptible by the tongue, the elder ocean of beauty was well nigh lost. But the teacher became his salvation. The teacher, hearing their words, said, Monks, this is not the first time I have become the salvation of this monk. Bound by the bonds of the craving of taste, the same thing happened in the previous state of existence also. In compliance with the request of the monks, that he make the matter clear, the teacher told them, Story of the past, the antelope and the bait of honey, Vatamiga Jataka. Sanjaya, a gardener of the king of Benares, entices a wild antelope into the king's pleasance by baiting the grass with honey. Having gained the animal's confidence, he continues the use of honey as a bait, entices the antelope into the king's house and captures him. There is nothing worse, men say, than the allurements of taste, whether it be at home or among one's friends. Through the allurements of taste, Sanjaya enticed the antelope into the house and captured him. Having related in detail this Vatamiga Jataka, the teacher identified the persons of the Jataka as follows. At that time, ocean of beauty was the antelope. The king's minister, who by reciting this stanza obtained the release of the antelope, was I myself. Book 26, Story 37. The Skull Tapper. It seems that there lived at Rajagar a Brahman named Vangisa, who could tell in which of the states of existence men were reborn at death. He would rap on their skulls and say, "This is the skull of a man who has been reborn in hell. This man has been reborn as an animal. This man has been reborn as a ghost. This is the skull of a man who has been reborn in the world of men." The Brahmanas thought to themselves, "We can use this man to prey upon the world." So clothing him in 2 red robes, they took him about the country with them, saying to everyone they met, "This Brahman, Vangisa, can tell by rapping on the skulls of dead men in which of the states of existence they have been reborn. Ask him to tell you in which of the states of existence your own kinsmen have been reborn." People would give him 10 pieces of money, or 20, or 100, according to their several means, and would ask him in which of the states of existence their kinsmen had been reborn. After traveling from place to place, they finally reached Savatthi and took up their abode near the Jetavana. After breakfast, they saw throngs of people going with perfumes, garlands and the like in their hands to hear the Dhamma. "Where are you going?" they asked. "To the monastery to hear the Dhamma," was the reply. "Where are you going?" they asked. "To the monastery to hear the Dhamma," was the reply. "What will you gain by going there?" asked the Brahmins. "There is nobody like our fellow Brahman, Vangisa. He can tell by rapping on the skulls of dead men in which of the states of existence they have been reborn. Just ask him in which of the states of existence your own kinsmen have been reborn." "What does Vangisa know?" replied the disciples. "There is no one like our teacher." But the Brahmans retorted, "There is no one like Vangisa." And the dispute waxed hot. Finally the disciples said, "Come now, let us go find out which of the two knows the more, your Vangisa or our teacher." So taking the Brahmins with them, they went to the monastery. The teacher, knowing that they were on their way, procured and placed in a row 5 skulls, one in each of men who had been reborn in the 4 states of existence: hell, the animal world, the world of men, and the world of gods, and 1 skull belonging to a man who had attained arahatship. When they arrived, he asked Vangisa, "Are you the man of whom it is said that by rapping on the skulls of dead men, you can tell in which of the states of existence they have been reborn?" "Yes," said Vangisa. "Then whose is this skull?" Vangisa rapped on the skull and said, "This is the skull of a man who has been reborn in hell." "Good, good," applauding him. Then the teacher asked him about the next 3 skulls, and Vangisa answered without making a mistake. The teacher applauded him for each answer he gave and finally showed him the 5th skull. Whose skull is this? He asked. Vangisa rapped on the 5th skull as he had on the others, but confessed that he did not know in which of the states of existence the man had been reborn. Then said the teacher, Vangisa, don't you know? No, replied Vangisa. I don't know. I know, said the teacher. Thereupon Vangisa asked him, teach me this charm. I cannot teach it to one who is not a monk. Thought the Brahman to himself, if I only knew this charm, I should be the foremost man in all India. Accordingly, he dismissed his fellow Brahman, saying, remain right here for a few days. I intend to become a monk. And he became a monk in the name of the teacher, was admitted a full member of the order, and was therefore known as Elder Vangisa. They gave him as his subject of meditation the 32 constituent parts of the body, and said to him, repeat the preliminary words of the formula. He followed the instructions and repeated the preliminary words of the formula. From time to time, the Brahmins would ask him, have you learned the formula? And the elder would answer, just wait a little, I'm learning it. In but a few days, he attained arahatship. When the Brahmins asked him again, he replied, brethren, I am now unable to learn it. When the monks heard his reply, they said to the teacher, Reverend sir, this monk utters what is not true and is guilty of falsehood. The teacher replied, monks, say not so. Monks, my son now knows all about the passing away and rebirth of beings. So saying, he pronounced the following stanzas. He that knows the passing away and rebirth of beings everywhere, he that is free from attachment, happy and enlightened, such a man I call a Brahmana. He whose future state is not known to gods or Gandharvas or men, he who has destroyed the evil passions and has attained arahatship, such a man I call a Brahmana.